Good afternoon, everyone. This is Monty Joseph, and welcome to my channel, Hands on Your Shoulders. Um, these are the early beginnings of this channel, and so bear with me. I'm just getting used to doing this kind of work. It's not something that I'm used to doing, so be patient. I'll get there. So this is the channel that I spend time speaking about addictions, recovery, and sobriety. And I believe the last content that I spoke about was in regards to, oh my gosh, I can't even remember. I'll have to go back and check. But nonetheless, today, the topic that I want to speak of is in regards to um, how we view people in their addiction. I do believe I spoke previously about how we only see an addict. We don't actually see the human being who is doing their best to kind of just survive the situation. And essentially, what it kind of comes down to is the addict is actually trying to medicate themselves for whatever it is that has happened to them in their lives. And it isn't such, a simple thing of just quitting, you know, like, well, why don't they just stop? I'm like, well, you've never had to quit something like that. And it's really hard to do because it's almost like we have to dismiss the fact that we had any trauma occur to us or any chaos happen in our lives. And you want us to just simply move on from that without any replacement of how we are coping, right? So I guess this will be about coping, right? Now, as an addict, the manner of which addicts cope is by using. Because it's a similar kind of scenario and thought behind how you get rid of a headache. What you use is usually like a Tylenol or something like that to get rid of the headache, and then it goes away, and then you feel better, right? And a lot of times it doesn't come back, right? The headache goes away and it stays away, and so you don't have to worry about it anymore. But what is the remedy for childhood trauma, physical or mental or emotional or sexual abuse? What's the remedy for that? Right? So with a person who has actually faced so much, horrendous trauma, it is difficult for them to just simply shut that off and have it no longer exist, because it is something that they're afflicted with on a daily basis. It's set in their mind because it happened, and it ends up being a memory. And in that core memory is all the horrible thoughts, feelings that they had about themselves, about the situation, about the other people involved, and so on and so forth. So there's so many layers of things that have happened to that person where forgetting or numbing themselves out or escaping is the only remedy that they know of, right? Because society has taught, as I said before, that we don't talk, we don't trust, and we don't feel. And so because of those things, often there carries a great amount of shame and guilt, and they fear judgment. Then surprise, surprise, a person uses, right? So when it comes to that, the coping methods that they use is all they know how to do. And they hadn't actually taken the time to learn anything else other than. So until they get to that point where, like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I'm sick and tired of actually living this life, and I want to do something different. I want to do something better. I want to find me again. Until they get to that point, that is where they are stuck. Or at least they feel stuck. But like, it does come down to that decision, but it has a lot of being okay with healing. And that is hard to do. To be okay with healing and condone your recovery and being okay with that, because it does mean looking back at what happened to you in your past and then having to deal with it, right? And learn how to deal with it in a healthy way. And one of the components of that has to do with the emotions, because whatever happened during that incident, there's emotions tied to it. And with those emotions comes a lot of regret, hurt, pain, mental and emotional pain, and self-doubt, and a whole gambit of other things that a person experiences during a traumatic situation, you know, depending on the traumatic situation. So always be mindful of that piece, that is why the addict is the way they are. And it has very little to do with you and more to do with what they have experienced in their lives, okay? And how they're trying to deal with it, right? I will get back to you again. Thank you very much for listening. Click and subscribe if you like, and hopefully you can find some information that helps you, or helps someone else. So have a wonderful day. Be gentle with yourself. Have fun. Stay out of trouble. And play nice with the other kids.